The Daily Take is live in person today with Geraldo Rivera in our New York studio. Oh, let's hear it, everybody. Geraldo, hey, come on.
Thank you.
Hey. Good to see you.
How you doing?
Geraldo, by the way, is in New York. I don't want to forget this because you're here for a good cause before we talk about the news. Unique People's Services.
Unique People's Services, it's a great organization. They house the homeless. They take care of kids with developmental disabilities. They really care for hundreds and hundreds. And I have another benefit next week for another group. They are absolutely petrified, Connell. They are so frightened that pending Medicaid cuts they fear, programs being cut back, kids not having the kind of follow-through care that they need. So it's a very, very rough time. So I try to keep involved.
Oh, for so many years.
Many years, 55 years. They make a difference. They make the world a better place. They make the lives better. People complain about, oh, those homeless and, or whatever it is. These people, Unique People's Services, is one of these wonderful agencies where you have volunteers, where you have donors, we have people, good citizens engaged. Anyway, I don't want to.
No, it's a good cause, and it's been something that you've been passionate about going back to
since 1972.
Wilbrook reporting and everything else. Let me ask you about this NATO thing that's going on today, because we've talked about Ukraine a lot, and this guy, Mark Rutte, who seems to have a pretty good relationship with Trump, when they meet in public at least, kind of hopped over here. And it's interesting, because this wasn't really scheduled that far in advance, and you wonder what this is all going to be about, or what he's going to try to get in Trump's ear about when it comes to Ukraine.
Well, I'm positive that what he needs is Trump's commitment to stay the course.
Yeah.
That the president, our president, for some reason has, in my opinion, Putin has a spell over Trump, where Trump gets really angry at Putin, the war, the slaughter, 5,000 GIs or their troops every week. We've got to stop this war. We've got to give tomahawks to Zelensky so Ukraine can defend itself. And then the next day, well, maybe not the tomahawks, or, after he talks to Putin. And I think that NATO has come to stiffen the president's spine. Not that he needs it or should need it, but we need him, we need the president of the United States to understand that Russia is the enemy. Russia invaded Ukraine. It's Russia that's causing the disruption of peace in Europe. And it's Russia that threatens the rest of Europe, including NATO, and that's why they're here.
Well, you look at the map, like I have it here, Russia, Ukraine, and where the control is. So, we've talked about this area that Russia has control of. That's where Trump seems to be now, that we're going to stop at the current border, and that's going to be the new Ukraine. But it's hard to imagine, like, Zelensky ever kind of agreeing to that, unless maybe he'll be forced to. I don't know, but, we'll see what Rutte says about that.
He may be forced to. You're absolutely right. But it is a pity. It is a pity that Russia can, by force of arms, by the fact that now they're threatening nuclear, they're taking their nuclear missiles out and giving them a kind of a checkup.
Right.
I worry. I really worry about where this is going, because they have to have really resolve. They need a clear vision of what it is, that Europe itself is at stake. It's not just Ukraine. What happens after the Ukraine falls to Russia, to the Baltic states, to Estonia, to Latvia, to Lithuania? What happens to Finland? What happens to to Romania right next door? The Russian bear is alive and well and threatening.
Yeah.
You gotta give them the weapons they need to fight fair and square.
We'll see if they even allow the press, which I think will be telling, into this event. Usually, as you know, the president loves to do that and have a give and take, but it's right now closed to the press when Rutte arrives. So if they open it up, that might tell us something about what's actually going on in there. A couple of other things. The drug boat story, I think we maybe even talked about this yesterday. This was from Hegseth today, Secretary of War now. Yesterday, at the direction of the President, Department of War conducted a lethal kinetic strike at a vessel being operated by a designated terrorist organization conducting narco-trafficking in the Eastern Pacific, is what he said in this post. So a different spot. This is like the 8th one, but not in, I guess not in Latin America this time.
This is the other ocean.
Yeah.
It's not the Caribbean Sea or the Atlantic Ocean. This is on the Pacific side. But the Pacific side, Connell, is where most of the dope is coming, mostly from Mexico. But, this, as I understand it, and what I said yesterday was, I am not opposed to these lethal strikes. as long as I can assume with justification that we know who it is that we're killing, what they're carrying, and and you're eliminating a threat and creating.
What are they telling us enough of that?
Deterrent. Well, today they did. Today they did. This is a Colombian terrorist group. I covered Plan Colombia. I know the country pretty well.
Yeah.
It's fractured. There's a lot of these, communist kind of militant groups, rebel groups, and they fund themselves by dope selling. So I understand exactly, and looking at the cut of the craft, that you don't go sightseeing in these vessels. You don't go sightseeing 100 miles offshore. This is what they got. A bad guy,
okay.
But now you've got to have the facts to prove it.
You want to talk New York City mayor's race before you leave, just for the context?
Yeah.
It was the time at WABC Radio in New York. Well, when I worked for Imus on Imus in the morning.
Right next door to me.
Right at the radio station, Geraldo used to come on after us. We had the Geraldo Rivera show.
Right.
And then at some point in time, Curtis Sliwa came back, and he started doing his show again.
And he was sleeping on the couch.
Right, with his beret on. And then Sid Rosenberg, who was just on, was doing the sports for us with Imus. Now he's hosted a big morning show in New York. So anyway, it was like a reunion today. So Sid's on last hour. Let me just play a quick clip. Sid's a lunatic, by the way, but a funny guy. And influential, I guess, in conservative politics now. He had this to say about this back and forth with Curtis Sliwa, who they're trying to, a lot of people are trying to force out of the race to make it one-on-one with Cuomo and Mamdani. Here's Sid.
1% pay about 48% of the taxes. When Mamdani wins, and I'm starting to say when, not if, that's going to go up. He's going to tax everything. He's going to tax a chocolate bar. He's going to tax a Broadway ticket. He's going to tax a Met ticket. He's going to tax everything. So if you're part of that 1%, like John Catsimatidis, and you pay almost half the taxes, why would you stay?
John Catsimatidis, by the way, is a billionaire who owns that radio station now. Not when we were there, but he does now. He's a supermarket guy, and he's a conservative guy. And Gerstidis Markets. He's trying to force Curtis out of the race. There's a debate tonight.
Well, that's the only hope that Cuomo has, is if Curtis steps aside and they can just be Cuomo head-to-head with Mamdani.
And Mamdani might still win.
And he could still very well might win, and all of this infighting certainly is not encouraging the opposition. I think just the other way, they're driving voters away. But it's so, it's like a flashback to that crazy period, to see all of these characters that we know so well for so long.
Exactly.
And here they are vying for the top spot.
And you're a big part of that in New York too, right? But I bet the young people, I don't know, but the young people that support Mamdani are looking at, who are these people, from radio stations and different things. And he's got the young people, new people in New York on his side now. It's it's a different New York.
And the kids, let's face it, I mean, just the way what life works, the kids aren't the ones who are paying the big taxes. It's the sliver that Rosenberg was talking about, the 1% of New Yorkers who pay most of the taxes. It's going to, that 1% is now going to explode to maybe 20, 30% of New Yorkers paying all the, carrying the freight. But they're going to leave. They're not going to stay. They're not going to stay and be taxed onerously.
Yeah. And you think they really will? Because I said that to Sid. That's still an open question. I don't know. Sometimes people say those things, and then they say, well, at the end of the day, I love New York. I'll just stay.
Well, I have to say that there are plenty of people in Florida that would belie that finding.
But a lot of those people did that already.
That's true. Right. What about Jersey and Connecticut?
Cleveland?
They play Cleveland. Ohio. I'm a special case.
You are. You are. On that note, we can wrap it up. He is. That's true. We should put like a lower third. Geraldo, I'm a special case.
Special case.
Thank you, my friend. Great to see you in New York. And great cause tonight.
Unique People Service.
Right. All right. So, enjoy that. And you're really doing a lot of great work with that. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.